When was the last time your parents held you, carried you in their arms? When was the last time you spoke to that friend you lost touch with? Or that loved one who has since passed away? When was the last time you had a beefy Fritos burrito from Taco Bell?
Oh my god, I miss him so much.
Down from the heavens bearing the gift, it's Jometheus, and this is the last time that you'll ever watch this video for the first time. You can rewatch it, but your first experience with it is happening right now for the very last time. If you're rewatching it right now, your experience is fundamentally different, because you know what I'm about to say and have already been surprised for the last time by the fact I glued a random word at the end of this sentence, Tarragon. It happens unexpectedly. You go to your favorite local restaurant or a small business. Let me just get my favorite pizza slice. Oh yeah, baby, give me that chicken nugget slice. Maybe I just gotta grab a copy of Mad Magazine from 1978 real quick. Oh yeah, give me that bacon, egg, and cheese. And you don't think much of it until sometime later, but you drive by it one day and you see a space for rent sign in the window. You probably didn't know at the time that the last time that you did all these things would be the last time.
Oh my god, I miss him so much.
And yet, without fail, anything that happens eventually happens for the last time. Everything changes with time, be it in gradual, almost imperceptible ways, or obvious, rapid, or sudden ones. Throughout human history, we've experienced the last of many things. Social trends such as fashion, music, and language evolve, technology advances, and sometimes a piece of technology once considered the standard is slowly replaced or even outright abandoned in favor of a more efficient or beneficial alternative. The last time a silent film was ever produced in Hollywood was with Le Gong, Dance of the Virgins, which was released by Paramount International in 1935. The film itself was considered controversial at the time for its depiction of female nudity. Ooh, scandalous. But it also gave a view into Indonesian life and culture that, while undeniably skewed through a very Hollywood lens, had nonetheless been unexplored prior to its release. It was an interesting bookend to an era hallmarked by the universal wordless comedy of Charlie Chaplin and the breathtaking stunts of Buster Keaton. Oh shit, he's gonna get hit. He's gonna get hit by that train. Train's gonna hit. Oh, wash out. That log, he's gonna, what's it? Oh, Buster, you card. You might have heard about in your third grade history class little something called the telegraph. It was a telecommunications device used to send electrical impulses from one place to another to convey messages using Morse code. What'll they think of next? A telephone? Yes. It was a technical marvel at the time, but slowly, as better technologies became available, people switched over and the use of the telegraph slowly fizzled out, till the very last large-scale public telegraph service hung up its Morse shoes just a few short decades after it was first invented on the somewhat distant date of July 14th, 2013. That's right, I'm not kidding, that's true. The state-run telecommunications company Bharat Sankar Nigam Limited in India, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, sent out its last telegram, finally marking the end of the era of the telegram and beginning the era of the Instagram. Am I right? These millennials. Western Union, the United States' own telegraph giant, had closed shop some 7 years prior on January 27, 2006. That's a lot of dashes and dots, my friend. I personally can't believe that they went as long as they did, especially when it's so much easier to just send a message on Snapchat with a funny filter on it. Sometimes things can go on longer than you might think, like this video. Just kidding. Please don't leave. The guillotine. Marie Antoinette really didn't like it too much, I don't think. This French torture device was heavily used in the 1700s, particularly during the French Revolution, when Les Miserables snatched up those fat cats and decapped them, no cap. Oh, let's eat cake. You can eat cake. This type of archaic execution was simple, violent, and had very clear immediate effects.
So no head?
Sorry for that joke. Now, the guillotine was first invented in 1789, and the French Revolution ended in 1799. So, as you can probably guess, the last time that a public execution using the guillotine in France happened was just a short 178 years later on September 10th, 1977, 5 months after the first Star Wars came out. I'm definitely going to butcher this name. Hamida Djandoubi, was publicly executed after being charged for the kidnapping, torture, and murder of his former girlfriend, Elizabeth Busquet. Now, I'm gonna get a little dark for a minute. When John Dubie kidnapped Busquet on July 3rd, 1974, he brought an end to her last days of peace. As he tortured her with beatings and cigarette burns, he took away her last moments without pain and suffering, and as he strangled her on the outskirts of Marseille, he took her last breath from her last day on this earth. In contrast, when John Dubie was executed 3 years later, he was fully aware that this was his own last day on earth. One could only imagine what was going through his head as he set his head down on that block, blade hovering above. Were the last of his thoughts before or after his head came tumbling from his neck to the basket below? Adobe Flash Player. Is that transition a little too abrupt? Sorry, I just thought it was getting a little bit too dark. Adobe Flash Player was a computer software which had been used to run multimedia such as games, animations, audio, and video online since its inception in 1996. I hadn't played a Flash game in years, but they were my bread and butter growing up. I spent countless hours watching dumb animations on Albino Black Sheep or playing games on CartoonNetwork.com, Addicting Games, or Newgrounds. Be it Interactive Buddy or Line Rider, the Impossible Quiz Series, Big Fat Awesome House Party, which I played for the last time sometime in 2007, and the whole thing ended in 2009. I also played Club Penguin, and while I stopped playing sometime in the late 2000s, it actually continued until 2017. I replayed an old favorite in 2013 during some nostalgic period in the year after I graduated high school, Courage the Cowardly Dog Creep TV. I remember loving that it felt like an actual episode of the show, and it was presented in the form of a kind of Super Nintendo era game graphically with a kind of point-and-click mystery adventure type format. While it was much less complicated to play as an adult, the last time I had played it before that was probably around the time it came out, sometime shortly after 2001. And it really stuck with me through those years. I didn't think of it often, but when I did, it would occur to me, I may not play it right now, but because of the internet, I'm always going to have access to it in the future, right? December 9th, 2020, Adobe released the final update for Adobe Flash Player. I'm recording on January 29th, 2021, so at this point, it's all gone. Truly the end of an era that formed a good part of my childhood. But let's go back just a little bit. In the early 1970s, a UCLA student by the name of Vinton Cerf was working with the Advanced Research Projects Agency, a branch of the United States Department of Defense, on the development of a system to transfer data over a digital network. Essentially, they were trying to find a way to communicate information directly between computers on an interconnected network. It was here that Cerf would meet electrical engineering student Bob Kahn, and together they would create the ideas for a computer program known as the Transmission Control Program, or TCP. Cerf would go on to develop the TCP, and along with Kahn, would develop a protocol suite for the Department of Defense, including the TCP protocol, as well as a second protocol known as IP, short for the Interconnected Protocol, or Internet Protocol. I guess you could say he was surfing the net. The internet, as it has come to be known, has fundamentally changed many aspects of how we live our lives. And among these changes, it has provided a platform for people to prolong the lives of things that otherwise would have already experienced their last times. The Wayback Machine is an archival website that catalogs instances of websites as they were on specific dates and time. You can, for instance, see how CartoonNetwork.com looked on December 2nd, 1998, or how YouTube looked on my 11th birthday in 2006. In addition, the website also catalogs books, videos, software, audio, and images as collected by users. As a nonprofit organization, the website is free to use, but it accepts donations to help fund the costs associated with the upkeep of the archives. Check it out and consider donating if you can. The Lost Media Wiki has other such examples of this kind of media, which are or were believed to be lost somewhere due to human error or oversight or simply just to time. Through combined efforts of those who run or frequently visit the site, we've been able to recover pieces of media long since believed to be lost forever. Sometimes things like this have a staying power which is shorter than we anticipate. Just one wrong move and suddenly somebody's life's work is up in flames. And on the other hand, some things die long after you'd expect. And some things, beyond any reason, still haven't experienced their last times. Things like arranged marriage, which still happens in several countries, and things like the anti-vax movement have brought back issues we thought we'd seen the last of. Polio, looking at you! The last time the popularity of the name Adolf for babies peaked was at 673 children in 1917. One might think that, after a certain somebody, that name would have been ruined for everybody forever. Surprisingly though, even though it's hovered in the low teens in decades since, and has even had years where it had 0 new incidences, it's never disappeared completely, and has even made a small comeback in recent years, including one couple which went the full 9 yards to give their child the name Adolf Hitler. History has a tendency to repeat itself. Issues that we've made mistakes with in the past, unfortunately, don't automatically stop us from making those same exact mistakes again. Although we seem to be on a track where, at the very least, we'll have a comprehensive record of everything we bothered to take down. With enough time, everything comes to an end. Surely, as a species, we can break out of these bad patterns of thinking eventually, before it's too late. It's hard to say, but some common theories for the last times for humanity include things like nuclear annihilation via war, pandemic humanity can't overcome, a technological uprising where all of our advanced artificial intelligence rise against us, and then of course that's not even accounting for the inevitable heat death of the universe, the rolling death knell for all that can exist. And I know what you're thinking. All we have to do is wait for the inevitable heat death of the universe, and everything will be done with, and we won't even have to worry about such things, right? Everything ends inevitably, so it's out of our control, right? Well, no. Even things we only intend to ever do once are still the last time. We even acknowledge this, often saying, "It's the last time I do that," and we have the power in our hands whether or not to make that true. We can break bad habits, we can cut toxic people out of our lives, we can remove ourselves from bad situations, be that little by little or all at once. People can and have killed off the last of species through poaching to extinction. People can and have also made consistent advances in the fields of medicine and science, allowing us to survive things we once couldn't. There will be a last time that you see a loved one alive, and a last time that you drink or smoke or do that bad habit you've been meaning to quit. Eventually, we'll all experience our last times. It's our choice and what we decide to do with the times before that. And until next time, just remember to stay safe, stay cute, and I love ya. Bye!